The other main frustration for both learners and their parents is the cost of learning to drive. First, there is the cost of a provisional licence, which is £45 plus the cost of getting the photos taken. The average cost of a lesson is £22, and the average learner will need around 45 hours of lessons to pass. That comes to nearly £1,000. Learners have to pay for each test they sit, and that is charged at £30 for the theory and £56.50 for the practical. The costs don't end there, because once the driver has passed and proceeded to drive in their own car, they are hit with astronomical insurance premiums as they are perceived to be of higher risk.
It was a Renault Megane. It was one of the a long blue car that had one of the big arches on it. Really difficult to drive, and it was quite hard to judge because of the length, but it was actually okay. It's not bad. Well, his cost was something like £21 an hour. The guy was probably about 25, maybe 30, so he was alright, and he was quite a good laugh and stuff. So. Oh, it was great. It was actually more like a relief. There was no excitement or anything because I failed it the first time, so it was just more like a get over and done with type thing. Pretty extortionate. I took about 30 odd lessons to pass mine, so you know, you're talking about £20 times 30, which is quite a lot, but then you've got to think into the account the cost of the test itself, which is a lot of money as well, so pretty extortionate, but I mean, it's so popular nowadays and they have to make their money as well, so I think it's a bit of a farce how you could fail 7 times, sit at the 8th time and pass, and then suddenly you're on the road able to drive. I think that after a certain amount of times you should have to wait a certain amount of months or years or something until you could try again.
It seems as though we have a very sad and sorry situation at present, but was it always like this?
You had to do half your test with the indicators on the car and half your test with hand signals, which the modern driver doesn't have to do at all. The cars were more difficult to drive back then. There was no power steering, the braking was much inferior than it is today. It involved going out on the main road with your examiner, doing what he told you by right turns, left turns, doing all your mirrors, manoeuvres. You had to do a 3-point turn, a reverse up a side road, an emergency stop, a hill start, handbrake start. You knew immediately the test was finished if you passed or failed.
There you have it. It is widely regarded and accepted that learner drivers are being used as a cash cow. Young people want to drive, whether it's because they see it's part of growing up or they need to drive for work reasons. A common belief is new drivers are involved in a lot of accidents, This is the main reason why new drivers' insurance premiums are so high for their first years of driving. It's understandable that inexperienced drivers, like in any other walks of life, will make mistakes. What angers me is the boy racer revolution, who in my opinion are responsible for the majority of these accidents. These Neds are louder and more visible than your standard getting by new driver, and therefore we're all grouped together and all seen as irresponsible road menaces. Earlier I mentioned the accident death rate on our roads. This regularly kills more people than drugs and violent crime in this country. Within schools there are social interest classes dedicated to areas such as drugs and sex, but nothing regarding driving. I believe this is shocking considering the deaths from driving. Education should be a major part of the solution to this problem. Like drugs and sex, attitudes towards driving can be and should be shaped from a younger age to prepare young people for the dangers they face on the roads. Young drivers need to realise that they are not invincible, that they can kill themselves and others if they don't approach driving in a mature and reasonable manner. Older generations should learn not to stereotype young people and remember that they were once young and inexperienced themselves. A grown-up attitude should be adopted by all concerned. Too many lives are being wasted through the complacency of a country who does not take driving seriously. To thank those I interviewed, in particular Greg Niven and Duncan Carmichael. The narration was carried out by myself, Scott Carmichael.